I think we do. Gosh, do we have some breaking news?
Ooh.
Oh boy. Okay, hold the phone. Oh, if only I could share this at a reasonable speed. Okay. Bob Iger is back as CEO of Disney,
What?
but Chapek was
Oh.
fired.
I thought it said Iger
Wow.
without the N. I misread that. Okay.
Iger, please. This is fresh off Grace Randolph. I mean, she's my primary source for all things. Grace will cover it first thing tomorrow. Chapek was fired.
I wonder what happened.
What's going to happen?
Well, it can't be worse than how things have been. So,
Well,
yeah.
True.
They brought Chapek in so that way they could blame everything on him and not blame it on Iger. This is all
Right.
planned out from the beginning.
Oh.
Iger, please.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep saying that. Hold on, more explanations from Clay Travis. Disney just forced out CEO Bob Chapek and is replacing him with Bob Iger, the former CEO, his old boss. Pretty wild. Is that our business is being killed due to being woke move? Get woke, go broke. Yep, that's what the chat is saying.
Is this our guy? Like who? Like what does he do? Who is he? Like what did he end up doing at Disney before? Does anyone
Bob
know?
Iger or Bob Chapek?
Iger.
So Iger was the CEO of Disney for like the past decade. He basically turned every single Disney thing into the Gap because he used to work at ABC. And so he doesn't see any of the magic behind anything like Eisner did. And so he's like, oh, you guys like good stories. Who cares? I like what makes money. So let's just capitalize on Frozen for the next 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
And if you read his book, it's fucking terrible. So he was best friends with Steve Jobs. And so they made Iron Man 2, which was
Chapek or Iger?
Iger.
This sounds like a Finkel and Einhorn. Okay, I'm gonna pay attention really closely.
Well, so you listen to his book, it's like, how the fuck were you in charge for so long? But so one of the things that he has in his book, and I'm like, your editor didn't tell you this was a bad idea, man. But he talks about how he basically used his friendship with Steve Jobs to acquire Marvel and Star Wars. And then Steve didn't like any of the stuff that they were doing, and Steve would be a pain in the ass, which he basically hints that he was kind of happy that Steve died because it took a lot of heat off of him.
What?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's such a passive aggressive comment. I'm like, you sound like a catty woman. But then he talks about how Steve calls him and he's like, I just took my kids to see Iron Man 2. It was fucking terrible. And his response was, it made $72 million. I don't care if it was horrible.
Oof.
So if you listen to his book, it's terrible. And so he also talks about how he conned Star Wars from George Lucas, because when he bought Pixar, he noticed that when he was at like a Disney parade, all of the characters that everyone liked was like Toy Story and Bug's Life and stuff like that. So he bought Pixar, which was Steve Jobs and John Lasseter's company, because he wanted John Lasseter to run Disney Animation, because he's like, you keep making hits, we keep making flops. So I want you to run both studios, which is what he did. So then he hit up George Lucas and he said, hey, like, I want to buy Lucasfilm and THX and, ILM, and I'll let you run it. I just want to buy it, kind of like how I bought Pixar, and I bought Pixar so that way I could have John Lasseter run both studios. So George thought when he was selling Lucasfilm to Disney that he was still going to run it and he was going to be in charge. And then he's like, you thought that I was going to pay you all this money and you were going to run it? And then George tried to pull out. He said, if you try to pull out of this deal right now, you're going to owe me $500 million and the company is going to tank and everyone's going to lose their jobs. So you could either sell it to me and make $4.5 billion, or you could lose everything. So when you see George signing that, signing Lucasfilm over, and he just looks dead inside, that's because Bob Iger had just told him that. And so George basically had to. And
damn, Anna, you are schooled in this.
I am shook at how much you know about this.
Can you make a video?
God,
I feel like such a pop culture fraud.
Hour-long breakdown of this fucker's book. And nobody watched it because it's an hour long. But
stop it. I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
You always make me feel like a pop culture fraud because I don't know a fraction of everything you know about all of this.
We
unless
have our
it's about
own
Tomb
areas of
Raider.
expertise.
If it's about Tomb Raider, I can be an expert on that. But that's it. And you're
This
just an
man
expert on a
ruined
bunch
Star
of
Wars,
stuff.
so I know everything about him. But guys, this was in his book, and that's why when I read it, I was like, "How did your editor not say we cannot don't publish this? You're a freaking villain, You're like
Right.
Lex Luthor." But it's all in his book. It's called The Ride of a Lifetime, and he's evil. So him bringing in Bob Chapek was completely strategic because he knew everything was going to hit the fan. And so he didn't want to get blamed for it. So he brought in Bob, and they basically said, or to Chapek, because they're both named Bob, basically said, okay, Chapek, you come in, you take the fall, you'll get a great retirement plan. And
Wow.
Bob Chapek's already a millionaire, or billionaire, I should say. So
Right.
he doesn't even care. So he came in to take the hit. Iger left. Iger also wants to become president, and he doesn't want to do it during this climate. So he's going to wait, and he's going to show everyone, hey, I came back in and I saved Disney. And that'll
Wow.
be part of his campaign when he runs for president. I guarantee it.
Ew.
Susan Arnold, chairman of the board, said, "We thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic." That's like a participation trophy right there. It's like, okay. Wow, you get credit for having a job during the pandemic. Good for you. The board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, these are just words, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period. Oh, that's it. That's a little article.
Yeah, that's corporate talk. That means nothing.
Yeah. Breep, 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 breep. Interesting.
He's evil. He's Lex Luthor in real life, telling you.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're on the pulse of this.
I believe that. I believe that, especially with how dead Georgians was inside over Star Wars being sold to Disney. I never knew the details, but I was like, why would you do it? Like, that makes complete sense.
It's in his book. And I've told people this. I'm like, Bob literally spells it out. He's got an entire chapter on it because when
And
he
it was
bought
Bob, like, he told on himself. He was like, yeah, I'm evil. I screwed over these people. Look
this
how
damn
smart I
book.
am. Oh my God.
It's so infuriating when you're listening to it. And he also made up like a Me Too story, it's not even a Me Too. Some guy like took out his dick. And that's it. Like when he was working at ABC, I'm like, this guy didn't touch you. This guy didn't rape you. This guy didn't do anything. He just showed you his dick, which I'm sure you've seen many when you go into like guys' locker rooms and stuff like that. That's not sexual assault. That's just somebody flashing you, which I'm sure is uncomfortable, but don't try to relate that to a Me Too incident.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you can't self-victimize over that. That's not.
Just if you ever like read or listen to this book, like the whole time I'm like, this is like Lex Luthor telling all of his evil scheming, and no one is.
God, I gotta read that.
Wow.
That is what's funny about.
What's the name of the book called again?
The Ride of a Lifetime. If you guys want access, I will give you my Audible account and you can listen to it.
Oh,
The Ride of a Lifetime sounds like a porn autobiography or something.
You're right.
It's basically him admitting to everything that he's done wrong.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Why
All
did he
this-
do that?
I don't know. And people praise him like, this is such a good book. I'm like, yeah, if you want to be a super villain and take over the entire entertainment industry, it's like a great how-to. But Jesus fucking Christ,
Wow.
man.
Wow.
It's like Edison bragging over destroying Tesla's career and stealing his inventions. Like,
literally
I'm
what it
so smart. I won. Oh my gosh.
That's literally what it is.
I feel like not enough people talk about that.
Yeah.
It's because you're taught in school that Thomas Edison is like great, and nobody really talks about Tesla, you know?
Right.
No, Edison was just a good businessman, but Tesla was a genius.
Raquel, be right there, friends. Oh, awesome.